Hey good people, welcome back to Monique's Book List. So we are here to film the first of my graphic novel reviews, and in this it is quite a few. There are 5. They won't be this large in the future. There'll be probably 2 to 4, 4 being the most, probably 2 to 3. I think I want to keep it around there depending on how many I read it in a month. So I gathered all the ones I read in December and at the beginning of this month, which was like 7 days ago. So I read quite a few, and I'm excited that I read them at the end of the year of 2019 because it helped me with my reading fatigue. And this hair tonight is just, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. Anyway, let's get started. So the first one I read was called Mira Tidebreaker, and it was written by Danielle Page. It was illustrated by Stephen, I want to say his name is Bird, I don't know. And so just to give you kind of like a general idea of the book, you meet Mira, and she is the queen of, not the queen, I'm sorry, she is a princess of a group of they're not mer people, just I guess mer people that are ruled by Atlantis, and Atlantis became rulers of them through some type of like war games where Atlantis won, and they just kind of was like took over. And it kind of feels like the Atlanteans, I don't know what you would call them, are kind of assholes to them, so they kind of want to get from under their rule. So her father, the king, I am so sorry, someone is outside deciding to start a really loud car. Give me a minute. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. Again, we have a neighbor who has like a Corvette, like a 1987 Corvette, and he's so proud of that piece of shit. And ever so often he decides that he wants the entire neighborhood to know that he is leaving his house in his shitty white Corvette. And it's always at night, and it's always at an inappropriate time, like it's almost 10 o'clock at night and he's doing that dumb shit. So I apologize. I'm not cutting this out. I am not cutting this out. So anyway, Mira's father, the king of this group of people whose name I don't remember, he wants to overthrow the king of Atlantis to kind of take his people back. So he devises his plan that if they could kill the prince of Atlantis, then of course they could become the rulers. Well, you have that going on, and then you also have Mira who wants to succeed her father when he decides to step down from being king. However, because she's a girl, she can't do that. So she has to marry a boy to be able to rule with him. And so what happens is her father knows that there's this boy that likes her. And so he tells him, he's a soldier, he's like, if you go kill Harry, the prince of Atlantis, I will for sure give you my daughter's hand in marriage, and you could be the king. The new king of all the people or whatever. So Mira overhears them making this plan, and she's like, forget you, I'm gonna go kill this dude first, and then my dad's gonna have to see that I'm a good ruler. So of course Harry is not, is it Harry or Henry? Sorry, Henry. Henry is not in Atlantis. He's actually on land with his actual father, his biological father. Long story, dumb ending with that. Like we haven't gotten to why that is his real father. This book just covers Mira's journey trying to kill him. So she goes to, of course, to this little coastal town where Henry is living, and he saves her life, or she lets him think he saves her life, and she's plotting this whole time to try to kill him. And you find out that his father has forbid him to go into the water at all, and you find out, of course, why. He tells him that, and basically he knows that if Henry gets into the water, he will find out, one, that he is not just a normal human. He can swim and talk to fish, and he can command the seas, and he will kind of figure out, like, there's something more to me than just living on this coastal town with my father. There's something else going on. Well, in this story, you find out that Mira actually starts, of course, she meets Henry, and she winds up not being able to kill him because she has feelings for him. So that's the basis of the story. And then there's this whole rigmarole about the guy who was supposed to do it. He finds out that she's on land trying to do it. It's just, it was a good book. It kind of is loosely, very, 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 very loosely based off the movie Aquaman. I don't know if it's going to go in the same direction as Aquaman, but it is pretty much based off that movie, or the movie is based off it, because I don't know which came first, honestly. I don't. I know that Aquaman movie came out last year. I'm pretty sure this book came out last year too, maybe 2018. I don't know. This graphic novel, but it's a cute novel. It wasn't. I wouldn't. Would I recommend it? I would recommend it if you want to light read about fish people. All right, the next one I read was called Under the Moon, a Catwoman Tale. And this was by Laura Miracle, and it was illustrated by Isaac Goodhart. Set present day, teenage girl, and it's kind of telling you how Catwoman became Catwoman out of necessity, basically. Now, I did read the reviews on this, and I found it interesting that I have this really interesting conversation that I want to have with someone. I would love to have with anyone, on camera or not on camera. I would love to have this conversation with anyone. When do we, in the conversation, before I'm digressing, before I get back to this, sometimes we are willing to suspend reality for certain books, certain movies, certain things, like fictional things, and then we can't suspend it for others. Because the biggest thing that upset me with this book was people were like, oh, the thing that makes her Catwoman is like this cat spirit. They were like, oh, she's just walking around with a cat spirit. And I was just like, Catwoman isn't a real person. So they could have said she became Catwoman from being bit by a radioactive cat. Like, I just get really weird. I find it weird what people are willing to suspend reality for when it comes to fictional content. I just find that weird. I would love to have the conversation with with anybody, honestly, with anybody. We can have it in the comments. We can set up a video call where we can talk about it. I would love to have it with anyone. When do you suspend reality, and when are you like, I want all in, I want all the reality in this fictional book, and it don't make sense because this don't. I just want to talk about it. Anyway, I'm getting along with it. So anyway, with this particular graphic novel, you meet Catwoman as a teenager. Of course, I'm not saying trigger warning. I'm just giving you the facts. There is abuse. There is self-inflicted abuse, and there's external abuse. And I mean, there is some really bad external abuse. So just be mindful of that. I thought this story was cute. I guess I could call it cute because it was kind of troubling. I think you are technically meeting young Poison Ivy in this one. So Catwoman is a teenage girl who's at school at Gotham High, and she, of course, she's in the same school as Bruce Wayne. Her and Bruce used to be close when they were kids until his parents died, and then something happened where he was just like, fuck everybody, I'm just trying to be me. So you witness their relationship, their friendship, how it was, and then it came back. And then at some point in the story, she realizes that she can't stay at home anymore, and she decides to run away. So she runs away. And she finds this like group of homeless kids. One is like a computer geek. Another one is, like I said before, I believe you're meeting young Poison Ivy. And then the other one is like this parkour kid who knows how to do tricks and stuff, and he's the one who teaches her how to scale buildings and how to jump off of them and land, soft on the soft of your balls of your feet. Okay, I'll stop. Anyway, so you find out all this stuff, and you also you find out that they banded together to steal this really expensive book, and it happens to be from Bruce Wayne. And Bruce Wayne is a teenager too in this book too. So you have that story going, and then they had this really stupid and weird side story about some mutant person / creature who was killing people and either eating them or just biting them. I didn't understand the necessity of that story because it was mentioned like 4 times before you found out who it was, and it was just like it felt unnecessary to Catwoman's story and her journey. So that's the only thing I didn't like about that about this graphic novel. But it's a cute graphic novel. I feel like I just found it weird that people were upset about how she became Catwoman with the cat spirit, and then also there were people upset about the self abuse, and I'm just like, did you expect for her to come from a fairy tale world and then she just like magically decided to become Catwoman? Like every Catwoman story I've ever read and seen in like movies or TV shows, she becomes Catwoman out of necessity of being treated poorly. So I don't understand why anybody would see it set present day and not expect for there to be something like self-abuse in it. I don't understand that critique of it. But yeah, so let me go on because I'm getting too marred in the deep. I don't know what the saying I was trying to go for, but let me keep going. The next one I read, it is a Teen Titans graphic novel, and it is focused on Raven. Now, this particular author is doing all of the Teen Titans, and if you don't know who Teen Titans are, there are 2 sets of Teen Titans. There are the Teen Titans that were from the 90s and early 2000s, 2010-ishes, and then there are the Teen Titans that you see on Toon or Nickelodeon. But anyway, this is a new take on Teen Titans, and the first out of the series is Raven. Now, Raven is being raised by a single mother, and they are together, and Raven apparently has these really strong powers, and she's also having a lot of nightmares. Well, she's being raised by her single mother until there's an accident and her mother dies, and she then goes to live with her aunt and her cousin. And her aunt and her cousin know that Raven has powers, but in the accident, Raven lost her short-term memory, so she can't remember anything about her mom, about what she likes, what she doesn't like, anything. She can't remember why she's having a nightmare. She doesn't remember anything. But you come to find out that Raven is not the only one in her family who has some type of ability. Her cousin has an ability. Her aunt has an ability. So I'm pretty sure her mother had an ability. And that would make sense because her mother, spoiler alert, fingers up for spoiler alert. I don't know if this is a spoiler alert. If you've ever read Teen Titans, if you've ever seen Teen Titans, then you know that Raven is half demon. You know that. I don't know why I'm doing that. It's not a spoiler alert. So, of course, her father is Satan or a demon. And her mother has captured him in this necklace because he's trying to take her to hell or somewhere to basically make her a bad being. And her mother captures him to prevent that from happening. So that's why she's having the nightmares. It's because he's so close and he's trying to claim her soul and stuff. And in this graphic novel, you also meet a cute little boy who likes her, and they hit it off. And then you're like, is he really good for her, or is he there for an alternate motive? And you find out in the book. So yeah, I thought the story was cute. I thought it was cute. So then I read Nancy Drew, Palace of Wisdom, and it was by Kelly Thompson, and it was illustrated by, this woman has the most interesting last name I have ever seen in my life. It is Jean, and then her name is spelled St-Onge. I am not bullshitting you. That is how she spelled her name. I don't know the correct pronunciation, and I ain't gonna try, because I ain't got time nor space for it. Anyway, so Nancy Drew, present day Nancy Drew, is known for solving murders or solving mysteries, and she's currently living in another town from the original city that Nancy Drew grew up in, if you remember Nancy Drew from when you were little or from when your grandma or your auntie was little. So it is, this Palace of Wisdom is actually a collection of 4 comic books. They put it all into one graphic novel so you can read the story to completion in this graphic novel. I believe that every cover that was created for all the comic books are in I don't believe, I know, are in the graphic novel, so you'll get to see those, so it's really cute. So Nancy Drew, again, known for solving mysteries, she gets a letter, a mysterious letter from her old town about, I know what you did last summer, kind of letter from someone saying, I know what you did. So she's like, what the hell? Does this have something to do with my mom? And so she goes back to her old town where all of her old high school friends, and she tries to solve this letter. She tries to find out who sends her this letter. And then on top of that, she's trying to find out or solve the mystery behind these women dying mysteriously that work at this one place. And the fun thing about this graphic novel is you also have the Hardy Boys there. And I don't know if this is special for you, but growing up with graphic novels or short or novels about Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys, for someone to put them back into modern day and bring the Hardy Boys in, it was cute. I enjoyed it. But yeah, the Hardy Boys are there. There is I'm just gonna say this. There's representation from all avenues of life, which include black, white, all avenues of life, and on top of that, there is the I am not going to say all the letters right. LGBTQ, the gay community. I'm just going to say that. Please blame it on my head and not my heart. Anyone who knows me will know. Please blame it on my head and not my heart. I am not good with acronyms. I have never been good with acronyms. I'm just not good at them. I'm just not good at them. Anyway, so the Hardy Boys are there, and you go on the journey of her solving the mystery behind the letter and then these deaths. Cute graphic novel. And the last one I read is Harley Quinn, Breaking Glass by Marco or Micro. I think it's Marco Tamaki. I hate names. Anyway, and it was illustrated by Steve Plunk. And I think I spelled his name wrong on this paper. This is about Harley Quinn as a teenage girl, present day. And I would have to say this is probably, out of these 5, this is my favorite graphic novel out of the 5 I read so far. She's a teenage girl who, when you're meeting her, the narrator is telling you that Harley Quinn was sent to, I'm just calling her Harley. Harley was sent to live with her grandmother because her mother needed to travel and be able to support just herself. And what happens is when Harley gets there, you find out her grandmother's been dead for almost a month. And the person who owns the building happens to be this lovely drag queen by the name of Mama. And Mama, when not in drag, does all male pronouns. So that's why I'm going to refer to Mama as him. Mama says, you can stay here, but you need to do all the legal things. You need to go to high school. You need to make sure you're doing all the things you need to do because I ain't going to jail for you. So Harley stays there, and she is hanging out with drag queens and going to school, and you meet Poison Ivy, just Ivy at this time. You meet Ivy. Ivy is a black student who is an activist on all levels. And one of the things she's really like, very protective or love a lot, of course, are her plants. She has a farm where she is protecting the farm. The farm is for the local community to come and get fresh vegetables. It's just, you meet, as I said, Ivy, and then you're also introduced to the Joker. And the Joker, who the Joker is a piece of shit. But you meet the Joker, and Harley just is like having the time of her life. She has like friends, she has love. It is probably the most interesting and best story I've ever read about Harley Quinn. And not only that, on top of it, all of that, I just loved how it had, like, she was learning life lessons from everyone. You know, there was Ivy's parents at school, and then the drag queens. Like, the drag queens are so important in her life. and they just are a community to her. They make sure she's going to school. They check on her. Mama is so good to her, and it's a good book. And you also, like I said, you meet the Joker. And at the end of the graphic novel, I thought the interesting thing was who the narrator was. I thought that was interesting. And the narrator is talking to you throughout the whole entire book. So that was good. So something major happens, and I would be giving you a spoiler if I told you what it was. Something major happens. Harley, of course, goes to jail because it gets pinned on her, and she starts to go crazy. Like, her and the Joker aren't in love at this point. She actually wants to kill him by the end of the book. Like, so she, you know how like that's the, you know how like in most comic books and most like animations where she's calling the Joker Pumpkin. She's like, Pumpkin. Excuse me. She's like doing it out of like some type of, what is it called? It's a, what is it called? She's doing it like as like a love thing. Oh my God, it's there and it's not gonna come. Anyway, she's doing it kind of like, like as a term of endearment. She's doing it that way. And this, she's doing it because she's like, Pumpkin, I'm gonna hit you with this damn bat. So yeah, and the Joker's face is covered up, so you don't know who the Joker is until the end. And then you, of course, you hate him. This is the first time I've ever hated the Joker. Fun fact, the Joker is one of my favorite comic book characters of all time. I don't know why. I've loved every Joker and every iteration of him, even the Jared Leto one. I know everyone hates that I thought it made sense to me. Anyway, so with all that being said, those are the 5 graphic novels I've read. I loved the last one the most. If I had to put them in order, it would be, of course, Harley. Next would be the Catwoman story. Raven, Nancy Drew, and then Tiebreaker. So yeah, there should be pictures of all of them on this page somewhere in here when I talked about them. Other than that, I do have more coming up. I know this video is getting long, so I'm not gonna keep talking. So next up, I know for sure is going to be, I'm not gonna talk. This is the only one I'm gonna talk. Actually, no, I'm gonna talk about one more. Maybe not. I thought I had another one up here really quick I could show you. I don't. But yeah, the next one is going to be this one. Hawkeye. Hawkeye is actually a woman or a teenage girl. I don't know. This one seems to be really thick. Like, it's crazy thick. So I'm excited to start this, and we'll keep up this review. So until next time, you know what your girl's gonna say. Bye, and thank you for watching.